Decides to run hard from maybe a few laps to go. See if she can stay on her feet at the start. It's been quite a while actually since Paula's run a 3,000 metres. You may remember last year she ran 5,000 at the European Cup in Bydgoszcz, ran a world best time there, a very quick time. She ran 10,000 metres at Gateshead, and that was pretty much it before she went off to the Olympic Games. The previous year she was injured most of 2003, and then we look back towards that startling summer in 2002, and she won at the Commonwealth and the Europeans. So, not surprisingly, she's at the front, and if you want an indication, I think I said earlier on, 9 minutes is kind of steady running, and that would be 72 seconds a lap, and it looks as though that's sort of the pace she's running. I would expect her to quicken up though and run a little bit quicker than that without taking too much out of herself for tomorrow. But it's a fairly sedentary start from Paula.
Yes, she's got the 5,000 metres tomorrow, and that will be against Fernando Ribeiro, so she'll want to conserve as much energy as possible, although Ribeiro probably not in the form that we've known in the past. But certainly Paula knows only one way to run, and she's established a pace that she feels will be adequate, and a familiar place in the lead, and she will establish the rhythm of the race and the tenor of the race, and the rest will be happy for her to do that. The Portuguese athlete is in second place, who is Augusto, and that's the athlete that you were mentioning, Steve, may well be one of the young women that can go with her. And also Meike Keens of Belgium also has a little bit of a pedigree and may well make some sort of impact here. But the tall figure there is Starat Votova of Belarus.
Sure, I'm just looking down there. That's the name we've got on our list, right? I think that's Tarova, who we've seen, of course, run many times for. There may have been a late change, and if it is Tarova, then she's certainly a better class athlete. And the list certainly say different, but those of us who watch enough athletics, it pretty much looks like Tarova, and she's in third place at the minute. It's also correctly there, but I think that is the case. Obviously, we are here in Florence and relying on the start list information from Portugal, but I think there's been a late change there for the Belarus team.
Well, I, for one, am delighted, because it's much easier to say, Steve, I have to say. But certainly, they've already dropped one of the athletes in this race. And I would suggest that the race will probably go like this, and then Paula will gradually wind them down as she's stepped up the pace a little, and now there are 3 away. And the Augusto of Portugal, the former European junior cross-country champion a few seasons ago, she's a 9-minute runner, and this is the sort of pace you'd expect her to be alongside Paula, although Paula now is beginning to stretch them, even at this stage now, with just over 3 minutes gone, and making them work pretty hard, although she may well not be working very hard herself at this time. That familiar rock and roll of the shoulders, a little glance behind, no one there, the gap is opening.
Well, I think what we saw there, Stuart, was a case of, right, I've run 1,000 metres at a fairly slow pace, and now I'm going to try and pick it up. What we might be seeing is her try and perhaps run each consecutive 1,000 metres of this race a little bit quicker than the previous one, because she certainly put her foot down at this point. And the gap there to the Portuguese athlete Augusto and Tarova. Tarova, as I said, better known over, tending to run more steeplechases these days. A new event, of course, for the women. And Paula says she's been in good shape. She's been looking forward to racing a little bit more on the track once she got London Marathon out of the way and started to recover from that. Of course, all know that she went to Eugene attempting to run over 1,500 metres and fell. Not really discovered her plans, an awful long way to go just for that result. So that really didn't tell her too much. And while she's got 2 races to run this weekend, she'll use it pretty much as a training exercise, I think, as I was saying at the start of the programme, that what she'll be doing is to say, look, I'm on the track, I'm racing, I'm going to race hard. I'm not going to run flat out and totally sort of ruin myself, but I want an indication, some idea of how things are going, because you always do better in races than you do in track. You could do this in your training session. You could say, right, I'm going to run a 3,000 time trial, but you always put more into it when there's a crowd, there's a real race in prospect, and Paula's doing that there. Look at that gap there, that last lap. She's really stretching them out now, and whatever target she set herself, it's not an easy one, is it?
No, it isn't, but it is a target, and you're quite right. She will have set herself a target. She will have a plan against which she will set about running. It's just over 5 minutes gone, and she's totally and utterly in control. She will not be concerned about the rest. The rest are on running for second and third and for points, but this is 8 points for Great Britain here from Paula Radcliffe. Such a positive piece of distance running. Sets a stall, takes on the rest, then takes on herself and the stopwatch.
Well, that was a 70-second lap. I'm not sure whether that would please her or not. I'm just doing that from our watch here rather than the clocks. It's not stopping there. I'll be interested to see what she does at this point. She's approaching the 2,000 meter mark. 2.5 laps to go. We made that at about 5:49-ish. Mark Butler's just started his top watch. Tarova having a look across. She's in a pretty solid second place there. Good points for her team. And behind Augusto is third. And you could see Paula a long way ahead. So let's just see what happens now. Because that second 1,000 meters was certainly about 12-15 seconds faster than the previous one, I think. So that gives you an indication of how much she picked things up. Slightly slow on that last 71 there. So Paula just working hard here. 2 laps to go. A familiar sight. She may have that time of Joe Pavy's in her sight. Joe Pavy, remember, running 8:45.79 at Glasgow a couple of weeks ago now. And Paula's certainly pushing on. She's not hanging around. This is the sort of thing she does in training every single day. She just happens to be doing it here with some people watching, a few more people than normal. But she's used to running on her own like this and keep pushing herself.
Yeah, she's deep in concentration despite that bobbing action of the head. Tarova's now moved well ahead of Augusto, the Portuguese woman who really is suffering. And it's Byrne of Ireland who is the 10,000 meter runner, really. She was fourth in the 3A's 10,000 meter championship, making some impression on the Portuguese. But this is a race against her own personal target, really. She doesn't need to go this quickly, but of course she wants to make this worthwhile. She's not taking enough out of her to destroy any chance she might have in the 5,000 tomorrow. 1 to go, 400 meters to go.
Well, she needs to run well, to be honest, it would be a pretty swift last lap. Not sure we're going to see that for her to run inside Joe Pavy's time. So we're looking at something closer to 8:50, which is about as slow as you're ever going to see Paula run a 3,000 meters. She's just stretching out down the back straight there, working hard, pushing on. It'll be interesting to see whether we do get her thoughts on this, whether she's aware of tomorrow and knowing she's got another 12.5 laps of hard running to do tomorrow. And just the thing about watching Paula, the head's nodding and the arms are going. She does this when she's just doing normal training sessions, and I think sometimes it looks as though she's actually working even harder than she really is. If she was hoping to get something really quick out of this, then she would have gone off harder from the start, would have settled into that rhythm. She started pretty slowly over the first 2-3 laps and heading for something, as I said, just inside perhaps 8:50. So Paula Radcliffe wins for Great Britain, 8:49 or so, and we get the official time fairly quickly. Tarova, I think that is, coming in second place, and then the Irish girl Jolene Byrne coming in third, has made up good ground on Augusto. Paula looks pretty tired there, I have to say, and she may not be fancying too much the prospect of coming back tomorrow, but she'll recover quickly. She's got heavy training in her legs, and these races are having to come in the middle of all of that. She'll be back into it tomorrow and ready for another 12.5 laps. There she's off jogging. She'll be wanting to warm down pretty